Top 10 NFL running backs, 10 to 6, 2016 edition. Adrian Peterson, age 32. Mark Ingram, age 27. Frank Gore, age 34. Melvin Gordon, age 24. Carlos Hyde, age 25. Isaiah Crowell, age 24. Todd Gurley, age 22. Jonathan Stewart, age 30. Matt Forte, age 31. Latavius Murray, age 27. Number 10, Lamar Miller, age 26. So, before we get into Lamar Miller, let's first take a look at exactly everything he's done. And first of all, he deserves to be on the top 10 list because as part of the Houston Texans this year, he had a really good year. He was able to develop pretty good numbers, and he's definitely on this list over all the other dudes. It will obviously change, maybe, I don't know. Again, Marshawn's back in the league. We'll see how Beast Mode does. I don't see him cracking it, but I mean, he could. You never know. He may have a awesome season. It's just been too long for him since he's been in the league, out of it in a way. I don't know. I don't know about his body, how it will affect him. But anyway, let's first take a look at Lamar Miller. He's got 3 years, $19.5 million left in his contract. And, I think he's loving Houston. I think Houston's loving him. And as you can see, what he's been able to do. First of all, he played 14 games. He carried the ball 268 times. He had 1,073 yards, 5 TDs. His longest run was 45 yards. His average game was a 76.6 yards. He also had 31 receptions, 188 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. His longest pass reception really was 16 yards. And he also had 2 fumbles. So he's able to catch the ball for the most part, and he's able to run, which is very good. And as you can see, he had 2 fumbles, but he recovered those 2 fumbles. So really, he had no fumbles in a way. Like none of them were lost, and that's pretty good. He's not really a guy that's really going to fumble much, which is a very great thing as a running back. Is what you need is to not fumble. So that's very good. Again, he's very young. 4 years in the league, just getting started, and he just wants to make an impact. Nothing really special. He didn't get to the Pro Bowl. I think he will. I definitely think he will get to the Pro Bowl. But like I said, he's gonna be up there. He's gonna be up here for a while too. In general, he's up here for a reason. It's because he's just a very smart guy that's able to run, receive, and just an all-around good player. So bright future for this guy, and he's gonna start at number 10. Number 9, Jay Ajayi, age 24. He's a very young guy, running back wise for the Dolphins. Again, I mean, this is a guy that last year didn't start at all, but he had 187 rushing yards, so he did contribute, but not as much as obviously he did this year. Now, obviously it's a big transition, especially Lamar Miller goes to Houston. You're like, what's going to happen here? Is Ajayi even going to live up to this hype? Like, is he even ready for it? And I watched him at Boise State. He was a monster at Boise State. He had a lot of, believe that 1 year, his senior year, 17 rushing touchdowns in that setting is amazing. And people don't really give enough credit to that conference in a way, especially people that come out from Idaho, and those recently haven't really had much high recruits from Boise State, so we haven't really heard much about that school in a while. But that used to be one of the popular recruitment areas. But anyway, Jay Ajayi, his contract is 2 years, $1.25 million. Again, this is pretty much his rookie contract, so we'll see exactly how he does in terms of an extension. I feel like if he continues the way he is, he will have more than 1.25 million in that bank account. He will deliver a lot more of millions there. But first, let's take a look at Jay Ajayi. First of all, this year blossomed into just a really good running back. He started in 12 games. He played in 15. Had 260 carries. had 1,272 rushing yards, had 8 rushing touchdowns. Longest run was 62. His average game was an 84.8. He had 27 receptions for 151 yards, 0 touchdowns. Longest was 15, and average game of 10.1. But he did fumble 4 times, so that's something that he needs to improve on. Now he went to the playoffs this year. In the playoffs, that one game, he had 16 rushes for 33 yards. His game again with 33 was his average, and he had 3 receptions for 12 yards. Longest was 5. His longest run was 8. So no fumbles, but got shut down really easily against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's definitely a problem in terms of him trying to be that guy. He needs to improve on fumbling. He also needs to improve in the playoffs when it comes to time. He needs to be ready to step up as a runner and make the most of it as yards. You know, like when it's the playoff time, not many running backs will get much done because it's just really hard to do. You know, defenses are just a lot better. They're more prepared. But when it's your chance to get a hole in there, it's, you know, you got to make the most out of it. Now his 4 fumbles, 2 of them were recovered. But 2 of them were lost. So, like I said, he needs to improve on the fumbling. But other than that, I mean, he's just a young guy. You know, got to the Pro Bowl. You know, it's pretty good for a young guy at 24. At the peak of that kind of running back career, I expect him to have a lot more yardage. I expect him to be full-heartedly a pretty big piece of the Miami Dolphins offense this year. And like I said, a bigger contract for sure. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, he deserves to be number 9. Number 8, Devonta Freeman, age 25. The Atlanta running back has been pretty productive and just a superhuman kind of guy. Honestly, just a lights up kind of guy. A guy that you know, he's able to run. He's not afraid. He's just willingness to want to win, and that's very nice. It's very good out of a player. Again, he had some pretty great runs in the Super Bowl. I actually enjoyed watching him. I think he was just very nifty. He's just a really good running back, and you know, it shows. You know, it shows exactly. The past 2 years he's been able to produce a lot. Now, he has actually a contract of 1 year, $676,106. That's it. That's literally his entire contract. He doesn't even have $1 million there that he's going to earn this year. His extension, I'm sure, is going to be a lot more valuable than that, because he's a very valuable guy to the Falcons' offense. I mean, when Matt Ryan's not passing it, they give it to him. He makes the most out of it, and that's a big reason why he's number 8. He jumps definitely higher than Lamar Miller and Jay Ajayi because of he's very nifty. He's been able to produce Miller and Ajayi. First of all, Ajayi hasn't really proven himself as much yet, but Ajayi has had a better time than Lamar Miller has. Lamar Miller has kind of dropped a little bit from a little bit. Now he's back to his form, so it's good to see for sure. You know, injuries and stuff, but Ajayi kind of gives the edge to him over Lamar Miller because of that. But the thing that Freeman separates him with those two guys is just his niftiness, his ability to just not be afraid, you know, and when it comes down to it, you know, he's going to give you some quality runs, you know, some good runs, and you know, it's just very, very nice to see a guy like this. Very special. First of all, 16 games, played all of them, 227 carries. He had 1,079 yards. Again, improvement. 11 rushing touchdowns. 75 was his longest run. His average game was 67.4 yards. He had 54 receptions for 462 yards. He also had 2 receiving touchdowns. Average game of 28.9. And only 1 fumble. So, only 1 fumble is better than 4 or 5 fumbles. Obviously, he has to get better in that department, but it's okay. Now, in the playoffs, like I said, he's had more experience in the playoffs as well. Let's take a look. First of all, finally in the playoffs, right? Lamar Miller was in the playoffs. Ajayi, Freeman, they're all new to the playoff system, right? Like, they was the first year with that. but he got obviously deeper. Freeman, he got to the Super Bowl, and you're looking at the 3 games that he played in: 39 carries, 162 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Longest run was 37 yards. Had an average game of 54. 10 receptions, 168 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. Longest was 53 and an average of 56 there, with no fumbles. Again, ability to not fumble in big games, ability to produce. Yes, it's very hard, but at least he averaged 54 rushing yards. At least he got something there. Was able to try to make the most out of it. And the fumble that he had, fumble recovery in the regular season, that's very good. So it's just good to see that. And again, he's a Pro Bowler. He got to that this year once again, second straight year. So honestly, it was very good. You know, I mean, he was one of the top 10 guys in terms of rushing yards this year. You know, in the 9th spot. So, but it just shows to you that, you know, he's a valuable guy. He's a valuable asset, and he deserves to be on this list. And I hope he keeps climbing, because he is a really, really good running back. Number 7, LeGarrette Blount, age 30. LeGarrette Blount is kind of like, right now, a red zone Marshawn Lynch. Not a full Marshawn Lynch, because Marshawn Lynch is able to have more runs in there. LeGarrette Blount's able to run the football. Like, he really is. He's a power guy. Like, no one's really going to touch him. He's a very powerful man. And he does get some great runs, you know. There's definitely more than just red zone runs with him. But he's more of a red zone kind of guy. And that's why he's 7. He's just a really dangerous guy. He gets to the end zone and he keeps churning. He's a powerful back. And you know what? For not starting many games this year, having over 1,000 rushing yards, that's pretty impressive. And Devonta Freeman, Jay Ajayi, and Lamar Miller doesn't have what LeGarrette Blount does, which is literally, like, they all have speed, but the power of this guy and the effectiveness of him, like, Devonta Freeman, Jay Ajayi, Lamar Miller, they're fantastic guys. I feel like the team would definitely be affected if they didn't have those guys, right? But with LeGarrette Blount, it's literally a major effect, in my opinion, because that was a lot of their offense. Like, obviously, Tom Brady, we all know about him. We all know about that offense. I'm just saying LeGarrette Blount was a major part of that as well. So losing him is a major loss. And Bill Belichick's really good at managing losses in terms of, like, losing people and still winning championships and Super Bowls. So I'm not at all thinking that they will struggle, because they are a team that knows how to just operate. I don't know how they do it. The coach is it's a Hall of Fame coach, obviously. But yeah, no, LeGarrette Blount is an end zone kind of guy, but he can run, and he's just a great tool. He's a great asset. That's why he's number 7. That's why he's on this list in the top 10, because he deserves to be, with how much he plays the heart. You know, he just continues churning. It's awesome to see. Anyway, he's got a 1-year, $1.25 million contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. So he left for free agency, left for the Philadelphia Eagles. That 1 year, in my opinion, is really sketchy, because I feel like this is Blount's year for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then he's going to transition back to New England, and then we'll see again Blount with maybe a Tom Brady at 41. I don't know. I think he can still play, but I think Blount's probably going to go back to New England. It's happened before. You know, he's just had success there, a lot of success. So we'll see how it goes for him. Now, let's take a look at what he's done. First of all, the reason I know that he's going to be in New England is because when he went in 2013, he was in New England, right? 2014, he went to Pittsburgh, then he went to New England, okay? And he's been in New England, and now he's going to go to Philly. I think he's going to go back to New England, because Philly doesn't have as much as a Super Bowl chance as the New England Patriots do, obviously. Now, let's just take a look at his stats. In 16 games he played, he only started in 8, and he had 299 carries, 1,161 rushing yards, and 18 rushing touchdowns. That's insane. Along with the 44, his longest run. His average game was 72.6 yards. He also had 7 receptions for 38 yards, with 16 his longest reception. and an average game of 2.4. And he fumbled twice. Not that terrible at fumbling wise. Now, in the playoffs, he played in all 3. He started in 1. He had 35 rushing yards for 109 yards, 1 touchdown. 18 was his longest run. An average game of 36.3, along with a reception for 8 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 fumble. Sorry, 1 fumble. And the 2 fumbles, he didn't get a recovery, so he actually did have just 2 fumbles with no real. It's unfortunate for that, but the same thing with the playoffs. So in total, he had 3 fumbles this year. It's not terrible. And like I said, 18 touchdowns makes up for those 3 fumbles for sure. And he led the league in rushing touchdowns. And he was 6th in touches. So, he's got that going for him. He's unfortunately not a Pro Bowler. People don't see him as that. In my opinion, I think he deserves to be in one. I hope he does. Maybe this is the time where he actually proves how great of a running back he is by going to Philly. But we'll have to see. Anyway, he is on this list. He's number 7. Number 6, DeMarco Murray, age 29. And DeMarco Murray had an exceptional year this year. He had a great year. Awesome year, right? So why am I putting him so damn low if he had almost 1,300 rushing yards and he had a really good year? It's because he got exposed. And you know what? It transitioned his entire argument of him being just one of the top 5 running backs in the league. He went from, I remember when top 100 players ranked him as the 8th best, like 8th best player in the NFL at that year. I'm pretty sure it was 2014 list, and he had him higher than Marshawn. So that was definitely something to debate. I think at that year Marshawn was the best running back in the league, but that's my opinion. DeMarco had a great year that year, so I don't blame them as well. He had a lot of carries in there, and he was able to really transition his game and become just a monster, right? And like I said, he can catch the football, so that's also a plus for him, right? There's a reason he's also higher than these other guys. It's because he's able to run and receive, but receive like 50 something balls and able to get in the end zone. He's got a knack for that, right? The only thing is that he was in Dallas, right? What does Dallas have? They have the best line in football. They have the best line in football. He had a great line behind him. He goes to Philadelphia. He gets 702 rushing yards, drops down from almost 2,000 pretty much, 1845 to 702. Guaranteed, yes, he played 16 games, and in Philly he only played 8, like starting wise, and 15 he played, but he started in 8. But really, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's showing me something like that's just odd. Like, he goes to Tennessee. Tennessee has a pretty good line, actually. If you guys haven't noticed, they actually have a really good line. It's a pretty good line. And he bounces back to almost 1,300 rushing yards. So is it the line? Obviously, guaranteed, like every running back needs a line. Just like every QB needs a wide receiver, right? Like, everybody has to have a role somehow, obviously. It all comes down to that. Like, they all have to, right? Like, without a line, the QB's not going to be able to throw. The running back's not going to be able to run, right? Without the QB, the receiver's not going to catch. Without the receivers, the QB cannot get his numbers. Without the line, the running back can't, Right, I get that. I do get that. But it sure helps when you have a great line and all you need to do is really just find the hole and you're good. You don't have to really finesse well, that much at least. He's a great finesser, don't get me wrong, but he definitely kind of shocked me when he moved to Philly and had that kind of year. I was like, what's going on here? Like, is it a myth? Like, is it only because his line? I think he's a gifted athlete. I think he's a really good football player. The line is a big portion of their success, which brings me to Ezekiel Elliott at a different later on, he's on this list. As to why he's higher, but also why he's not as high as people will think. But no, guaranteed nothing. DeMarco's a great running back. I'm not trying to shrink him to say he's terrible and the line's making him look good. It's a little bit of both. The line's making him look good, but he's also making the team look good because, granted, if you had a great line and an average running back, if he can't find the hole, that's not going to be worth anything. He's just gonna fail because it's just not a NFL ready kind of running back, right? But DeMarco is an NFL running back, so he's able to just really read those well. He's a smart player. He's a smart dude. I'm just saying that's a little in question right now. Anyway, he played 16 games. He started 16 games, rushed 293 times, had 1,287 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. His longest run was 75 yards, average game of 80.4, had 53 receptions for 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, 35 was his longest, and an average game of 23.6, along with 3 fumbles. Again, he has had some trouble with fumbles before, but it's shrinking a little bit. Now, didn't get to the postseason as the Titans, obviously. Had a fumble recovery once out of 3 times that he fumbled. And overall, a 3-time Pro Bowler. Got to the Pro Bowl in 2016. And that's pretty much about it. He didn't make the All-Pro, but he deserves to be on this list. Exceptionally gifted guy. So I wouldn't say it's terrible. He's a terrible guy, not at all. He's a great athlete. Just that's in question right now is his line, and if he's been able to really some running backs don't have a great line, and they're great. So Murray is a great player. He's really good, but if he went to a different line like Lions or something, or the Jets or something, or the Colts, would he be able to succeed? That's just my whole question.